Renee, welcome back to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Firstly, Happy New Year,
Exciting. Happy New Year to you too.
2026. Amazing. This is the 1st of January. So if you're listening to this on 1st of January, well, hey, congratulations. We're not recording this on the 1st of January though, but these are some of the things today we're going to talk about that business owners need to work on in 2026. So if you're listening sometime in January, this is hot off the press. And we want to give you 5 things that you can work on. Look, if you listen to the one I released Christmas Day, which would have gone out Boxing Day, etc., I gave you some things to work on with regards to reflections on 2025 and how to move that into 2026. But what we're going to talk to you today is about, I think 5 things that are really going to help business owners with some of the tactics and some of the things that are going on in the market for marketing and some of the big tools and levers that you need to be leveraging. So let's get into it. What is number 1?
Look, for me, Scott, and this is what I've seen the last year, and it's just becoming more and more apparent to really make an impact with the business owners that we work with, is that video, right? I think I've said it, I feel like I've said it a million times.
Oh, I've been saying that in seminars for probably the last 5-6 years. Video, video, video. And now it's getting even more and more important, and we're going to explain why and why it matters. So yeah, I think it's a great topic to start. It's probably the scariest topic apart from AI when we talk to business owners, but it's the one that can really help a business compete in a competitive market.
Yeah, and it's scary at the start, but the team here make it fun to work with us, right? And once you get in the swing of things, it's not as terrifying.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. And look, with video, I know from myself being on the sales side of things that it helps build that trust straight away. So I've had meetings this year where I've met somebody in person for the first time, and I've had a few people say this to me, that they feel like they already know me because they've seen my content and they've watched my videos.
That is the best.
Yeah, it speeds everything up, and there's a key to that as well, is being authentic on video. So showing how you would appear in real life as well, so that buyer, that customer experience, when they get to see you on video and then they deal with you in real life, it follows through. So.
Yeah. And I think, like people, I always say, you probably heard me say it on this channel, it's that whole TV presenter effect, right? Like, I know people when they, I don't watch the news, but people watch the news, they see celebrities, etc., because they see them all the time and they see them on video. So they give them that authority. They give them that wow factor. They feel like they know you. And doing video for your business is just the same. The beautiful thing about it, and I think some good notes here, as we move into the world of AI, it can copy information. Your competitors, I think you wrote here, your competitors can copy your offers, but no one can copy who you are. And I think that's really, really important, because that is the differentiator when it comes to you and your business.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, show up how you show up in real life as well. Nobody wants to talk to a corporate robot. And if you completely change your tone from when you've been on video to what you are in real life, then that will help. They will pull apart that trust, right? Yeah. So, sit down and talk to someone as if you were having a pint or a glass of bubbles with them. Like, make it casual.
You just don't slur your words.
Yeah. It is New Year's Day, so might get away with it this one time. But yeah, use your real tone, everyday language, and natural speech patterns. Look, I take notes and have bullet points for things because I want to make the videos that I'm doing intentional, but I don't sit there and read like a corporate robot off them. Right? It just helps you stay on track. And imperfections also make you more relatable, because nobody's perfect. I mean, it helps build that trust as well.
And I think that's the key thing as well. When you're doing video and you're doing it in front of camera, and you're doing it, people expect you to make a mistake. Like, people don't expect it to be, even like news presenters and all those kind of people today make mistakes, right? No one expects to be perfect. And I think that's the thing with AI. Some of it's just too perfect, right? And people can see through it. Because here's the thing. When you're doing video, you want to do things that build know, like, and trust. And know is about character, sharing and showing your character. And people can pretty quickly get to know your character but it'll be some of the things that you do, some of the things you naturally say, some of the things that come across, and people start to know who you are because of your character. Then they start to like you because of the chemistry you create during a video. Now, the thing is, if you're doing videos again and again and again, that builds up that consistency, that builds up that frequency, which it builds up that relevancy, and part of that like and that chemistry is because they're becoming more relevant. And that then leads into the know, like, and trust, which is once they trust you, that you have credibility with them, and they're more likely to buy from you because you're showing that you're real, you're showing that we're human. And we've seen this time and time again this year with the businesses that we are doing video consistently with. They build know, like, and trust. They build it faster, and they build it to a point where they've become very, very relevant in their marketplace.
Yeah, totally. It's funny. I was at our client lunch that we had at the end of last year, because it's 2026 now, where we hosted our clients for a Christmas lunch. I was sitting there talking to Paul, who owns Whitehead Plumbing and Gas, about how he was terrified about doing video. His hands were shaking when he first started out, right? And that Rachel came in, she's one of our videographers here at DI, and did work through Rachel magic and made him feel relaxed, and to the point where he almost kind of bossed him around a bit, but he at the
Yeah.
end, but he was grateful that he'd had it done. And then, yeah, he sat down and was sort of explaining that, I guess. I was telling Isaac from Simon Construction about that story and how video isn't scary once you get into it. And then started talking about some of the prizes that we're given at the Christmas lunch. We treat it as an adults prize giving, and how the guy from Megan Turbo got a video from Rachel, an award for his video from Rachel for the work that he's been doing. And straight away, Isaac knew who that I was talking about, Kevin.
Yeah. How good.
Yeah. And he's not a client. They don't know each other through us, but
Yeah.
he'd noticed his ads, his content coming
His
up.
content coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, like, that is such a cool part of it. Like, to go back though, everyone's scared when they first start something, right? It's an unknown. Most of it's in your head. You're worried about what other people are going to think of you. The challenge once you get over that is no one else actually is thinking of you. They just think it's cool that you're doing videos and that you're promoting yourself. Look, I think one of the biggest trends we're going to start to see 2026 this year, 2027, is zero-click marketing. Now, what I mean by that is people, they are not going to go and click on links. They're going to want to get information from the AI. They're going to want to get information quickly from AI overviews and into these LOMs, these chat platforms. So creating video is a part of that. You're going to show up in the likes of YouTube. You're going to show up in the likes of Google AI. You're going to show up in the likes of chat, etc., because of your videos, because you become more relevant to the zero click, because the AI is going to want to give the most relevant result and the recommendation to the person who is looking. So video is going to play a massive part of that. So you need to lean into it. You need to lean into it because it amplifies who you are, your unique story, and your unique differences. And I always talk to business owners that always say, "Oh, my business is different." Well, this is a chance to showcase it, because I can guarantee you most businesses are the same, but there's a unique point, and it's you. You need to show up in video to do that.
Yeah, and thinking about content for videos as well, lots of business owners say that they've got nothing exciting to tell, or nothing that would be entertaining for anyone to watch. But there's things that you do in your business day to day that Joe Public doesn't actually know, and that's the things that are that come across as
Yeah.
educational, that are interesting, right?
Yeah, and I think also, like, part of that, it takes other people to see the qualities that you have sometimes. So sometimes as a business, they'll come in and they think they've got nothing to say, and then we'll sit down, team sits down, and all of a sudden you've got a page of stuff that you could write about or talk about. Sorry, and I think that's the difference. Like, get an outsider's view, because they see the value that maybe you don't, because maybe they look at it from your customer point of view. So they have a wee bit of a different lens. They also see the insights that you share inside a meeting. I know when we sit inside these strategy meetings sometimes, and people start sharing some of their insights, and it's like, why don't you tell more people that? Like, that is gold. And they're like, well, just what we do. How many times have we heard that? Oh, that's just what we do. It's like, actually, there's gold in those insights. Sometimes it takes, someone else putting a lens on that and helping you by asking you some questions. So my view on this would, and you said as a sales pitch, you should come and see us to help you with that, because we're good at it. We've got proven results. And if you want to get better at video in 2026, 2027, come and see us. Pitch over.
Cool. Nice one. Love it. And it's like a great place for video to start is to start a YouTube channel and to utilize that as a platform.
Yeah.
Right?
So that would be number 2, right?
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
And like YouTube, 20 years old. I think we've talked about this as well, but it is a platform, and it is part of your content machine. And it really is an area where you need to take serious. You need to have long form content going out on YouTube. The reason for that, look, I'll give you an example. I'm searching for a pool heat pump. And straight into, I tested a few different ways, straight into Google, and got straight into to YouTube videos, which that's where the answers were. Then it had Google AI overviews with a link to YouTube, and then I looked in Gemini, link to YouTube, and then I had a look in ChatGPT, link to YouTube. Because I was after a specific question, and they gave me the answers. And it's a long form video. It's actually 12 minutes, this video, and it explains everything I needed to know.
Yeah, perfect.
Game over.
Yeah, but then once you're on there, if it's something that you want to know more of, if it wasn't sort of a one-off learning that you wanted, then you can start to scroll more content. So you can actually, you've got the opportunity to get in front of people that are going to binge watch your content as well, right?
And that's where zero-click marketing starts to come in again, right?
Yeah.
And this is the trend you'll start to see, zero-click marketing. You watch one video, then they go and watch another video. They watch another video, and they're not going anywhere else to get that information. Powerful, powerful strategy for business owners. And look, good news, it's just getting started.
Yeah, and considering how the platform is as well, it's interesting. But then also when people are on YouTube as well, you've got the opportunity for your content to come up because what the content that you're delivering is of interest to them, right?
Totally.
So there's that angle as well. So it's not just search; it's actually the relevancy to the people that are viewing the content.
And I think you wrote a good point in the notes here. Businesses, you just need to get over the fact you don't need 100,000 views. You actually need 100 views from the right people that watch 3, 4, 5, 6 of your videos, because and I love what you wrote here. I trust them and I want them, and I think that's a really important part for small business owners. You don't need the same views as these influencers are getting. You don't need the same views as these content creators are getting, because you make money from your product or your service, right? They make money from views. And it's a huge difference. They need all those views to make some money. Like there's a famous story with an influencer who had, I think it was 2 million followers on her Instagram. She couldn't even sell 30 t-shirts.
Right, yes.
And that just sums it up. And I hear this all the time, from people that start doing video, they start making sales. But if I was an influencer and a content creator, I'd be making no money because I make my money from the views, and that's getting harder and harder. So really let it go, because you don't need that. But there are some talking points that you need to talk to. So let's go through those.
Yeah, look, and a key thing, I guess, that comes to off the back what you were saying as well, that you don't need trending sounds or dancing,
No.
the latest trend to become relevant, because that's not how you install trust. It just comes across a bit gimmicky, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so you don't need that clickbait, or like you said, that real pressure to go viral, because it's not about getting in front of everyone. It's getting in front of that few targeted people that are actually going to be a fit for your business and for what for what you're wanting. And what you need is to just solve clear problems, like the example that you used before about the pool, right? So real answers, show up with your real face, be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what will help you stand out as well, especially in the age of AI and that, like you said, everything becoming more polished, and you can be that real authentic self again. Then that's a pathway to a client hiring you, right?
Yeah. So you do need a few things set up correctly, like, and obviously AI will look at your content and will read your content, etc. And then making sure your tags and your titles and all that are set up correctly for the search that you're trying to get in front of. But you definitely, like the whole, trending sounds and dancing and clickbait is just not, it's not what you need as a as a real business, and when I say real business, I mean like a local business serving local people with products and services. It's just not what you need. And I think sometimes that stops people from doing it. I just want to make sure that that message is clear. That you don't need that. You just need to be able to. What you need is clear problems, clear answers. Your face and a pathway for them to get involved in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about YouTube being the bridge to your client, right?
Yeah.
So you can even have some casual mentions of a client that you work with, so that real life stuff that helps come through to install that trust as well. And it's not about showing your CV online or being really salesy. It's about that actual educational content, so that work with me in every description. So actually adding a layer of content where your ideal customer is going to get some value in advance from it. And, not working from playlists as well, like you said, keeping the trends minimal.
Well, a good example of what you just said was before was around, a casual mention of client. So this is a long form video. And in the first 5 minutes, we mentioned about Kevin from Mag and Turbo and Isaac from Simone Construction seeing his videos, and that's, it's a great example of how you can casually mention that, like you don't actually, you have to push it down people's throats that this is what you do. But you can casually mention it and you can showcase and share some of the results and some of the insights you're getting and how you've helped other people. Renee, I thought we'd give some examples here, and I know you put down, from maybe some injectables and beauty clients, and maybe some trades and how they could actually do that. So if someone was creating content, say they're an injectable, what are some of the ideas you had here?
So yeah, that injectable business, right? I mean, it's definitely, we've seen an increase in that over the last year,
Yeah.
last 12 months. It's definitely a sweet spot, something that we can specialize in as far as marketing around that industry goes. So content ideas could be that, are you suitable for anti-wrinkle treatment at 40? I think that women engaging in this sort of content it is a bit of a nervous buy, and you want to have that trust in somebody,
Yeah.
not just letting someone loose with a needle at your face.
Yeah.
So video is an amazing way to do that. Looking at some, say, before you're going in for a treatment, how do I need to prepare myself? So it's about, okay, the best routine that you can do before you come in for a treatment, and what the skincare is like after that. So really thinking about the pain points that potential client
Yeah.
have, and addressing those just by what you know about your industry and day-to-day working life, right?
And that's the cool thing. Like, you're not asking people when you're creating videos here to reinvent the wheel. It's just, hey, what do you know? What do people ask you all the time? What could you talk about for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes that if someone watched it, they would get more confidence in not only you, but the service itself, or, like how, yeah, like just get those things that people ask you all the time and create video content on it, because that is the gold inside it. So for like tradies, best cladding for coastal builds in New Zealand. How long does a reno really take? Like, how many people, if they're thinking about getting a reno, would go and want to know that information? Loads of people that are getting renos done. Out of 100 people that are thinking about a reno, I can guarantee you 95 of them will want more information. Where are they going to get that information from? And the beautiful part about this is you could really, really dial this in. How long does a reno really take in Christchurch, in Wellington, in Auckland, in Nelson? Like, you can own your area for this. And people, when people are thinking renos, and this is a gateway question. How long does it take? That's a question most people are going to have at the top of their funnel. How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? A gateway questions. Then all of a sudden, they get into your channel and then they see custom testimonials. They see case studies. They see some of the stuff that you're doing on site and how you're different and why you're different. You got them in with gateway questions. They then binge 3, 4, 5, 6 of your videos, and all of a sudden they know, like, and trust you. Real simple strategy, but the thinking behind it is where the money's going to be made. The strategy, as I always say, design your marketing strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want. That's about strategy thinking and designing that sort of content strategy.
And I like what you said around the geo-targeting for that content as well. So even something as simple as mocking up a spreadsheet with the areas that you service
Totally.
inside, and then the services that you have, and mapping it out so you can say, okay, I can make content for Christchurch around Botox and skincare products. And then for the rest of the South Island, it might just be online products that you can buy, for example. But really shaping your content in and around that. And it sounds really basic when you say that out loud, but it's kind of all that you need, right?
Yeah.
A run sheet.
Yeah. And that, once again, doesn't matter. You don't need to get viral with it. You just need to put the video out there. And there's some real interesting things when we start talking about content layers. Talk a wee bit about that, because I think that's really important for people to understand what type of videos they need to create at what time.
Yeah, so there's the funnel, right? So your marketing funnel, where you've got at the top, it's that awareness stage. In the middle is that consideration stage. And the bottom of the funnel is that decision making, that conversion stage, right? So the top of the funnel is really getting in front of people that at that awareness level that might not know you as a brand, but they might be curious about your product. So that's that's more of a scattergun approach, that awareness, right? So some talking head videos, talking the educational content, thinking about your frequently asked questions, what they are, or use platforms like Answer the Public to pull out and find out exactly what people are asking about your industry. Those how-to kind of segments was that through there. And then through the consideration, so that's the middle of the funnel. A good example of that, what that looks like. So people are curious about your product, is what we're doing now. So podcasts, whiteboard teaching. I know Alex Hamosi, I follow him. He's got some great whiteboard content. He uses a big pad that he writes stuff out with, but it's engaging, right?
Yeah.
And I watch more of it. It works. And then like collabs with people as well. So just coming through as being the expert in your field. Then you've got that buying stage. So that's where the conversions, the rubber hit the road at the bottom of the funnel. And that's where you can come in with case studies. So you're really backing up what you've said through that authority for the top two layers of the funnel, but you're backing it up with that social proof now, right? Where you'd have some live consults or some walkthroughs of what you're doing as well. And that all just works in together to feed that content layer funnel.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think, like even with the algorithms today as well, people are starting to the content finds them because of what they're interested in. And then, I always say you have quality and quantity. And look, I think even those three things, the awareness, consideration, decision, they can actually speed up today with video, because you've got people that are quality, they might only see one or two videos, and you have quantity people that will have to see a lot. They can be a mixture of those videos quickly, but it could just be that your case study videos do the heavy lifting, and people might only see one or two and decide to contact you. They might not even see one of your talking head videos. They might not even see your podcast, and this is the crazy thing about how the algorithms today, it rewards people who are putting out content. Really interesting though, YouTube just released a brand new feature around collab. So you can actually collab these types of videos. So we could collab with someone else and get in front of their audience. Now that could be a great way for injectables to bring in their suppliers, for tradies to bring in their suppliers. If you're a painting company, bringing in a supplier to do a podcast or a long form video content with them, then you get in front of their audience and stuff like that. So there's some huge opportunities with YouTube, but we've probably put too much time into that, because it's the first of 2026. You need to be going and having a champagne. So what's number 3?
A basic one, but your CRM. So having a CRM,
Yeah.
and then using your CRM to its full advantage, right? I get quite surprised with business owners that I've talked to that don't have a CRM, or some is just working off an Excel spreadsheet, a database like that. Some people don't even have that. And at the moment, there's follow up. There's a definite gap that I've seen where businesses aren't following up on leads or aren't re-engaging with a prospect, getting back in front of them. So the winners in the market definitely for 2026 are going to be the ones that follow up regularly. And there's a reply rate as well. If you leave a lead sitting there for a few days, that's a dry lead now, right?
Yeah.
So you want to get it while it's hot.
That's exactly right. And definitely one thing we're going to help customers with next year. We've seen this because we generate business and then we talk to people, and maybe they just haven't had the time because they're busy to follow up. So we're actually building a few systems in the background, especially around CRM and around lead volume and lead reply and all this sort of stuff, because I think it's an area, look, you're spending money to get people in the door, but if you don't have the ability to follow them up and don't nurture them, then you're going to lose that momentum. And I think that's a real key area for 2026, because there's real no excuse when the technology starts to get better now. You can start to use it with more confidence, and that's one area we really want to give business owners more confidence, I guess, within their CRM in 2026.
Yeah, which ultimately is going to save them time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, time and money. And I think, one of the keys you'll start to see is that nurture. Nurture is a real aspect to that. People, once again, it's that know, like, and trust. We call it second selling as well. It's another area where you can start to second sell. But that's because you're giving value, 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 and then an opportunity. And that's what a good CRM will do. It will allow you to do it, and it will allow you to do it, set it up once and automate. You'll create the content once, and it's valuable content, but then it just doesn't sit there and actually working for you 24/7 while you're bringing in qualified people. Which I think that's exciting for business owners. I get it why it hasn't been done, because the tech has been very, it hasn't been as easy to understand as people would like it to be. I remember back in the day when I had On Page One Media, we were using Zoho, and it was very, very technical and very, very heavy. Then we went to another piece of software called Infusionsoft. I actually called it Confusionsoft. It was before its time, and it was really, really good. But it was a Ferrari when most people are driving a Toyota. And to be fair, most business owners just need something reliable like a Toyota, not a Ferrari. And I think that's where we're going to move what we're doing, to helping business owners, in 2026.
Yeah, and like talking around that follow up and speeding up that process as well. So it ultimately frees up your staff, your salespeople to have more time doing that face to face stuff and what matters. But there's things like simple things you can set up and automate. Like if you're talking about the injectable plants, so having 3 to 4 month reminders
Yeah.
pop up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that re-engagement, pre-care and aftercare sequences
Yeah.
coming through.
That's really important though, getting some content out there before people come in, after they come in. One thing it shows you care. People might think, oh, that's an automated message, but it's your insights. It shows you care. If there's a link to a little video on your YouTube channel that you're sending them, it shows people that you care. When people are buying services from you, they want to know that you care.
Yeah, absolutely. And that timeliness as well, right? So that comes through. So with tradies, there could be quote follow-ups coming through. What happened next? So explaining the process. That's kind of answering the question, which comes through that care sector too, right? Seasonal maintenance check-in. So there's lots of ideas in and around that, and it sounds simple saying it, but it's just about that implementation, which can
That can take and once again, it's the strategy thinking though, because seasonal maintenance check-ins. I talked to a number of business owners this year about this, especially in the trade, and talking about, hey, you've had a client, you've been to their house, you did really good work for them, but you've never gone back in contact with them. Why? And most of them, it's because they're just busy. They're busy, or they don't have the bandwidth to set it up. And I get that. I don't get it. I get it because I actually hire experts to do what I can't do. And that's what you should do. You should hire someone, because their thinking and their way around it is native. The chances are my staff could not change a power plug, as far as rewiring it and all that sort of stuff. No, but they could rewire your marketing and your automation in a heartbeat. So you just got to have to understand people are good at what they do. Get involved with people that are good at what they do, because it'll save you so much time and make you so much more money. I can guarantee businesses are losing money because they don't have a CRM working for them.
Yep. So even if your marketing's great, but you don't follow up, then that's not a strategy, is it?
No.
It's wishful thinking.
It's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Number 4 is my favorite, offline events. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, cool. So especially in today's age, right? People crave that contact with other people. So real experts, real rooms. I know that one thing that we do here at Digital Influence is we host client events through the year. We get all of our clients in the same room together, which is So it creates a great network as well. But more so than that, there's that educational side. I know, Scott, that you're big on this with seminars. I'm actually meeting someone next week off the result of one you did recently. So a hire car company.
Yeah. They are so important, in a world of digital. I tell everyone you must be doing some form of offline event. We already have one locked in, 26th of February. It's a breakfast. It's called Leadership Live. I can't wait to share more details about it, but that is what people want to do. They want to come for your content, but what happens when you're doing the whole offline events is they come for your content, but they stay for the community, and you start to build real connections with people. And that's what people, if one thing that COVID taught me, and also the earthquakes here in Christchurch, is people want to come together. And when times are tough, they come together. But then when good times happen, they still connecting, and I think that's really, really important. There's definitely some things that you need to think about when you're running events, and we'll go across a few of them. But here's one example I want to give you, which I think is why events are so powerful. So I got invited to an event. I couldn't attend, but I will definitely be attending the next one. I had another event on actually, but it was put on by a photocopy company. They got people together to have barbecue and talk about hunting, fishing, and the outdoors. They had 150 people there in the showroom and on the outside of this photocopying company. Now, no talk about photocopiers, no talk about anything like that. But I know a deal was done that night because I know someone who went to it. And I just thought, isn't that genius? Like getting 150 people together to talk about and be involved with something else that doesn't relate to your product. And a lot of people go, oh, but that's just a waste of time. But if you look at the big picture and understand the strategy once again, you bring a community together, and you bring a group of people that obviously they have if they're going hunting and they're going fishing, they either have a business or they have some reserves, that they can spend on stuff, right? And all of a sudden, next time you've given them a good feeling. Next time they need to think about a photocopy, who are they going to think of? And this is the thing, when you start to look beneath the strategy, you start to see where the game's really being played. And I just think it was a good example of what you can do when you think outside the square. So what about some talking points for maybe our injectors and our tradies?
Yeah, okay, cool. So, and I love that story. It's a great way to build that community, right? So, for injectors, you could have things like a skin health workshops. Again, that's coming away with that information that you've got in your head that you know in your day to day working life. Holding anti-wrinkle education nights, helping to encourage that or build that trust up with people too. So client Q&A, so open mic, open yourself up to be vulnerable and have some questions come at you. Bring a friend evening, so that's where you could come in with some special offers or so on and so forth.
I would definitely lean into that, and I would create some sort of JV. I'd bring a joint venture partner in with that, one of your suppliers, or a couple of your suppliers, and I would run, the whatever you need to know about healthcare in 2026, like your skincare in 2026. I'd make it quite I'd pick a nice venue, and I'd create a bit of a feel factor to that, and you bring a friend that's not a customer. So all of a sudden you get in front of someone who doesn't even know you exist. I'd film it. I'd get that. Then you could use the content off that. You might only have to run one of those a year to get what you need from it to grow your business and get known for it. Like, that's a winner right there. Just package that up and use it for your business.
Yeah, and include that in your marketing budget for the year. At those live events.
And also, who's paid for it? The suppliers. The suppliers will pay for it, because if you're doing more, they're doing more. So hit up your suppliers and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to run this. Here's the concept. Here's the idea. What could you put towards it? And all of a sudden you'll have stuff for your gift bags. You'll have some things paid for. Even if they don't, the cost of you running that event to what you'll make from it is, you always look at the big picture. Don't worry about the money you want to spend at the start. I know how much Leadership Live is going to cost us, but it doesn't matter when you look out long term. It's totally worth it. Okay, what about for tradies?
Yeah, cool. So I mean, there's the obvious tradies barbecues that people
Yep.
hold, right? But they work well. something around coastal build. So that's getting people, I guess, that are like geographically involved or interested in the area together. Having running a night on renovation budgeting costs or some insights on renovations with people, because that's a massive part of the market. Having some, I'm not sure that how to say the regulations here, but look into it. Some open site walkthroughs as well. So actually having people part of a building that you're working on, or part of a house that you're working on. Or again, the supplier nights as well, which is along the lines of what you were talking about with the injectable business.
Totally. I would, if I was doing renos, I'd really dig into building that list, building your database of people that are looking to do renos. And then I would start to build that up, and then start to, I guess, build the emphasis around that night you're going to do. Because I think if you got people in a room, and when you talk about reno and budgeting and that type of stuff, that's a warm and hot crowd. Like, people might be thinking about this for, I don't actually know this, but they might be thinking about renos for at least 2, 3, 4 years out. If you could be the company that nurtures those people, and you can think long term, because if you understand what a reno is likely to make you, putting those kind of events together could be a great way to own that reno market in the future.
Talk about whether you can live in a house and have it renovated. Like all those things. And as Scott touched on before, film everything. Repurpose it, chop it up, repost it. You can really utilize everything that you do offline to become online as well. And that online builds familiarity, but that offline, when you're in front of people, that's what kind of gets the deal.
It builds the glue, right? It's the glue that brings it all together. But definitely make sure you film. Like, think leverage. Everything you do, film it. Like, one of the greatest sayings, ever more with ever less, right? So, creating and amplifying what you're doing is so important. You've got to actually leverage it too. You've got to market it, like you've got to film it once, but market again and again and again and again and again. Because here's the thing, once again, someone else is going to be coming along, and right now they didn't know that they were, right now, someone might not be thinking about Reno. In 6 months' time, one of their things might change in their family, and all of a sudden they start thinking about renos, Well, if they didn't go to your offline event 6 months ago, but now they're in the market, if you didn't film it, you missed that opportunity. And I think that's the key. Always think the future opportunity from the content you're creating today.
It's not about quick wins, right?
No. Quick wins will come, but they come 18 months later.
I should build up that know, like, and trust, right?
All right. Number 5, the answer engine optimization. You got some good information here on this. I think it's really, really important. Once again, zero-click marketing is the trend that you are seeing or will see in 2026. And I want you to get in front of it. So this is a big part of it. So let's talk about this and why it matters in 2026.
Yeah, cool. So look, I've always enjoyed geeking out on traditional SEO, Google perspective, right? So if you'd look back from when things were Wild West on the internet, when you looked at search engines, like there were Ultra Vista and things before Google dominated, right? And then in 1998, when Google introduced PageRank, that's when things turned from Wild West to get a bit more structure around them. And that traditional SEO was about having the right keywords in the right places and a high quality and quality of backlinks. So that quality and quantity of backlinks.
I remember when we started on page 1, and we had a guarantee that you didn't pay us until we got you on page 1, because it was the Wild West. We thought, like, we're direct response marketers, and it was relatively easy. You could buy a keyword rich domain name, Investment Properties Christchurch. You could create a page. You could then create some videos, then create some content, spin that content, and generally within about 2 to 3 weeks, you'd be on page 1. Within about 6 weeks, you'd be 1 or 2. And it was really, really easy, based on what people were searching for. Investment properties in Christchurch, like it was a lot different, and it was a lot easier. And even though Google never really releases their algorithm, it was easy. I think now it's not, and I think, well, it hasn't been for years, and I think what we've done over the years with SEO has been pretty good for our clients. We've been getting some great results, but I think the opportunity now has definitely moved beyond just SEO. The SEO principles, actually, some of them really do work for AEO, but I think, right now, if you've not thought about SEO, and this is an area that you should learn more about, or come to one of our workshops in 2026, or download, which we're going to put in this video. We actually created a AEO optimization checklist and PDF. So you should download that and start to educate yourself on this, because it's a real good opportunity. So let's talk a wee bit more about it, and some of the things that AI wants from you.
Yeah, cool. So if we look at the answer engine, so how people are searching using ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, or whatever that is. Um, that search engine or the answer engine is going to rank your content based on trust, right? So that element you touched on, where traditional SEO and AEO have got some things in common. That main thing that comes through is that trust element. So they want the end user to have a good experience using that platform. So yeah, basically you've got to play the game that way. If we look at the buyer journey through that. So the AI, the answer engines scrape, they don't just look at Google, they look at social media, they look at your Google business profile, they look at videos, they look at your website. And it's all about really having that everything in one answer. So like you're saying about that one-click media. So my buying habits online are, I'll hop onto ChatGPT, say I'm looking for a restaurant to go to that's good for brunch on a Saturday. I'll get the top 5 answers out of there, and then I hop onto Google and have a look at their Google reviews, and then I go onto their social media platforms and have a bit more of a look at the food and what the vibe is like as well. But that first answer is all in that answer engine in one click as well, and then you can branch off from there, right?
One thing I find really interesting, and I talk to people about this, how much they trust the conversations that they have with the AI. And it's really interesting how much people really do trust conversations. Because all of a sudden the buyer's journey does change a wee bit, where it's all in one place. And people are having conversations with their AI about, so you're asking the AI questions, and you might then go and do some research. All of a sudden you've trusted that more than maybe just clicking on one link.
Totally.
And I think this is the game that you need to understand, is like, people are having conversations about what you're doing and in your industry, but they're talking to these answer engines and getting feedback and having more of a conversation, which then allows them in their own mind to have more trust. And I caught myself doing this with stocks and share markets and stuff, and I was like, I I caught myself in the middle of this conversation going, "Man, this is actually really good, but I need to stop here for a second, because I could have invested a whole bunch of money." And I was like, I actually caught myself having this conversation going, "Wow, how easy was that conversation? And how confident do I feel in that decision?" Right? And I thought it was really interesting that this is where the world is going, and this is where people are going to make some decisions. This is where they're going for their answers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's changing, right? And it's happened quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the thing at the moment is to rank in those answer engines, it's a lot. It's has that kind of that early days of SEO vibe where it's a little bit Wild West. So you can be strategic about and get some quick wins on the board, as opposed to traditional SEO where it can take months and
Yeah.
months at a time, right?
I do think, though, this is an area where you need to map. You need to know, okay, what is it that I want to be known for? What is it I want to be recommended for? What is it that I want to be reviewed for? You need to get that strategy out, because without it, someone showed me some really interesting the other day. I think it was on one of our clients, and there was a review kind of had come up in the search, Google overviews, and they had written an article on why you shouldn't deal, and I can't remember the full context, but it was basically why you shouldn't deal with XYZ companies. But because the AI had taken that, you shouldn't deal with. And this content was written way before AI, and it was written by another company. We'd started working with them probably in June, no, maybe July last year. But the AI had picked it up, and it basically had said you shouldn't work with this company. And one of our team had picked it up that in the Google overviews that it was working against them because of the content that had been written. So the context of the conversation was, hey, you shouldn't deal with these types of companies, but the AI overviews had written it that you shouldn't deal with this company. And that's why you need to map out your content. You need to map out your strategy because, it is innocent what was written, and it was quality for what it was then, but it's actually not serving you now. So get really, really, really clear 2026, because here's the thing, this ain't going away. So map it out, get clear. What do you want to get known for? What do you want to get recommended for? What are you going to want to get reviewed for? Be very clear on that.
That Wild West vibe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And getting really clear on your target market as well, where it sounds really basic, but AI knows so much about that end user. They know where they are, what their interests are, and so on and so forth. So if you can really structure your content in and around that as well, that is key because AI is smart enough to already know that. And focusing on content that will hit that bottom of the funnel. So showing the answer engines that you are the best in the business at what you do, and structuring content in and around that so that you can have your educational content that comes above that, but then that, best digital marketing agency in Christchurch, or so on and so forth. Yeah, so it's just about having the hooks right for the answer engines as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good, so good. Hey, so you talk about here experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Talk to me a wee bit about that. It's very, very important.
Yeah, so look, this is a structure. It's called EAT, EEAT, and around how Google and answer engines define your content and what they look for, I guess, and ways to structure it. So the first E being for experience. So what that's doing is showing that this is a basic framework, right? But it's showing real life. And that's what helps build trust. So if we look at Whitehead Plumbing and Gas, for example, so you've got some imagery of Paul actually on the tools doing the work that the ad's about. It might be fixing a leaky tap or working on some gas or so on and so forth. So it just helps install that. So that experience, that real life. Then the second E stands for expertise. And that's basically just backing up what you've showing with your experience. So whether you are compliant or not compliant, so on and so forth. And the A stands for authoritativeness. And what that is that's not what you're saying about yourself, but what other people are saying, right?
So true.
Yeah. So that's that social proof coming through, repurposing Google reviews. I think, Scott, you made some videos this year where you were talking through some client reviews. But yeah, it's a great way to do it. And then the biggie, which is that trust. So use real imagery, photos of your team, highlight an online service. But as far as that traditional SEO and what the answer engines are looking for now, trust is the biggest thing, I think, that comes through, right?
Yeah. And look, this it does sound simple, right? And when you think about it, it does sound simple. But I went to a website this week and I'm like, who is this company? Like, seriously, who are you? Your content was vanilla. There was no photos of who you are as people inside the business. And it was really, maybe we should do a segment next year, like I don't know, Renault marketing or something like that. Because, like, seriously, like, unbelievable. Like, you built no trust, no like, no anything. And look, I'm not going to do business with that company. Because based off of that, like, there's nothing out there that talks about who they are, where they are, what they have to offer, why they're not known, who's reviewed them, who's recommending them. And it's just not going to happen. Here's the thing, though. Here's one thing I want to say to business owners. If you're a business that's been around a while, this is your opportunity to strike. This is your opportunity to really, like, double down, get in the weeds of this stuff, because if you do, you're going to go so much faster, so much quicker in the years to come when it comes to AI. Okay, if you don't, though, and this is the warning I will make to businesses that have been around for a while, if you don't get clear on this strategy, and if you don't get clear mapping this strategy out, don't complain when a newbie business comes in and takes market share. because a newbie business will come in and take market share because it will start getting recommended, it will start getting reviewed, it will start getting referred by these AI engines, right? But if you're a business that actually has some game and has been around a while, you need to leverage that and you need to work on that. So, once again, a humble sales pitch. What's your phone number, Renee?
So my phone number here at Digital Influence is 022 571 5055.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Give Renee a call, okay? Give Renee a call and ask her to show you some of the strategy reports that we've created this year or last year, sorry, in 2025, okay? You go and take one of those away for 10 minutes and read them. I will guarantee you will find so much value in doing that for your business. And look, I've actually never made a guarantee in digital influence, but I'll guarantee you'll find so much value inside that report just for your business, that if you don't, I'll buy you coffee and I'll buy you breakfast, all right? Because here's the thing. 2026 is going to be a year where businesses start to move. I've already started talking to businesses of our clients that are really starting to ramp up. Sales are starting to move again. Things are starting to happen. You need to be involved in it, but you need to get the strategy right first. So get involved. Call Renee, talk to her, have a 15-minute conversation, get her to show you one of these reports or 3 or 4 of these reports, right? Show and show what we've been doing with customers. This is a game changer, and I want you to be listening. I want you to, if you're listening, I want you to understand you're one conversation away. Humble pitch over, but AI is so important. You must be using it in 2026. If you're not, I don't know what you're going to be doing in 2028.
And look, a really good point about those older established businesses as well that have been relying on that handshake and word of mouth. Now, this is becoming more and more important, right?
Yeah. Well, it amplifies that, right? We're not saying that's not important. This is just amplifies that. And this is the beautiful thing. I want businesses that are established to understand like this. If you could get on when the yellow pages started, and you could have been a whatever it was, like it's this type of opportunity. If you could have got into the internet and started ranking number 1 when it was 1998, this is this sort of opportunity. Like the 5 things that we've talked about today are opportunities for you to grow. And I just think if you don't take advantage of this, I don't know where you go in 2028.
Yeah, there we go, right? So kick the new year off with a start, reach out. I'd love to chat.
Yeah. Well, look, and we've got other things that we should talk about, but let's not. Let's finish that because I think, business owners are on break at the moment. They're having a bit of a quiet time, and I think they deserve it. We might be cheeky though. I think we might put this video out on the 1st, but we also might plug it into a wee bit later in the month as well because I don't want people to miss this opportunity.
Yeah, good idea. Love it.
All right.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Renee, what's one of the things that you want to be working on in 2026?
One of the things I'm going to be working on in 2026 is definitely more video content for myself and for my personal brand. And looking forward to jumping into more strategy sessions as well.
Yeah. You guys have created something pretty awesome there. So yeah, do make a call. Have a look. I think one of the things that we're working on is around the AI and around the CRM. So looking forward to sharing that with people in 2026. It's going to be a busy year. I think, as I said, I've been up talking to business owners all over New Zealand. People are starting to see and hear. Things are starting to move. Yes, they moved slower. Everyone thought this was 2025 it was going to, but it didn't really pan out for some people. But maybe I know from the end of 2026, it's really 2025, it started to ramp up for people. So exciting times. Once again, thank you for being part of the podcast. 2025 for us was a great year with the podcast. We talked to so many amazing business owners, and it was a real privilege. We were in the charts a lot, and I really, really appreciate that as well. People sharing it, and we're getting some great feedback as well.
Yeah.
I think you had a Brazilian dairy farmer shout out to him the other day, telling you that he was, been listening to the podcast.
Yeah, I used to jump out of airplanes with him for
Yeah.
sport. So he's gone out on his own, started his own irrigation business down in Ashburton. So he's taking lots of insights from the podcast. And
Yeah.
that's cool. That's why we do it. Right?
That's why we do it, and I know I've had people coming up to me saying, "Hey, I love listening to the podcast," and all in different episodes, and I just think it's great that we're making an impact on New Zealand businesses, and that's why we do it. We want to make an impact on New Zealand businesses. We want you to share this information. So, Renee, thanks for your time, but it's their job now. Your job is to share this podcast. Go out and listen to this. Take 1 or 2 actions from this. You don't have to do everything, but take 1 or 2 actions. If you want some help, reach out. We're here to help. But if you can, make sure you share this podcast. I know you might be busy laying on the beach, but share it with someone. Share it with someone that you know. Either just tell them to go and listen to us, or share it out on LinkedIn, share it on Instagram, because every little share helps us grow the channel, and it allows us to grow the podcast to reach more people, which is what we want to do. All right. So hey, thanks for your time. Happy New Year. And as always, have fun and take action.